Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaraachaarya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. त्रैलोक्यनाथ हरिमीड्यमुदार सत्वं शक्तेस्तनूजतनयं परमेष्ठिकल्पं जीमूतमुक्तविमलाम्बरचारुवर्णं वासिष्ठमुग्रतपसं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. So we were looking at the Atma Anatma Viveka. That's how Totakaacharya is starting the text. And in this, the most important thing to understand is whatever I see, whatever I cognize, whatever becomes evident to me, it cannot be me, it cannot be I. This is the simplest form of analysis which we are doing. In fact, the analysis itself is simple, and all of you will be able to agree that whatever I see is not I. But still, to get over the conditioning which is already there, because when I see whatever I see is not I, it is easy to apply this to anything up to your skin. Okay, so this is not I, even though I am wearing it and it is very close to me, or even this specs is not me, although it helps me to see clearly. There is no confusion with reference to all these things. But then as soon as it comes to the surface of your skin, the confusion starts. The confusion starts from there, because we take the body as I, and then all the bodily qualities, all the bodily limitations, all the bodily problems become my problem. I am fat, I am dark, I am black, I am white, whatever. So many things are there, correct? And not only the body, then our sense organs comes next. I identify with that. I am blind, I am deaf. All these things are there with reference to the indriya, the sense organs. Also, there is a confusion. Then with reference to prana, I am hungry, I am thirsty. All these things are there. The physiological processes also, I identify with that. And then with reference to mind, I am happy, I am sad, all these emotions, correct? So many emotional states are there. I identify with all that. And also with reference to the knowledge itself. I am knowledgeable, I am idiot, I am ignorant. So that is with reference to the intellect. So like this, the identity with not self is very strong. And it is also naisargikaha, as Bhagavan Bhashyakara says in the Adhyasa Bhashya. This taking the not self as the self and also superimposing the qualities of self and not self upon each other. Okay, this is not something which we deliberately started or something, correct? It is there. You did not create it. In fact, you are born with it as an individual. This is there. When did it start means nobody can say when it started. It's beginningless, really speaking. That's why that identity is also so strong. That conditioning is very strong. Understand that. So the analysis itself is very simple. But to overcome the conditioning is where you have to put in all the effort. And sometimes it looks uphill, correct? Sometimes it looks impossible. But it's not really impossible. It's very much possible. That's why we have to look up to all our gurus. The parampara is there, Guru Shishya parampara is there. So in every generation, again, there are so many jnanis are there. And we all look up to them always. They are our lighthouse kind of a thing, correct? So even though you may feel like you are swimming across the sea, of course, if you look at the lighthouse, there is some hope always. You can reach the land. In fact, at the end of the day, there is no ocean at all. Understand that. There is nothing there. It all evaporates. That's the beauty. Although you are struggling to swim across, at the end of the day, what you find is there is nothing. There is no swimming at all. In fact, there is no ocean to swim across. And you are already that which you are seeking. That is the beauty of the whole thing. That's why it's easy, in fact, in one way. So anyway, so Totakaacharya starts the whole teaching by trying to show you the essential nature of oneself. That's what he wants to show. For that, first he is showing you what you are not. Why? Because you are taking yourself as what you are not. So there, we have to always start from there. In fact, even when we talk about the qualifications for a mumukshu, the desirer of freedom, the qualifications for a Vedantic student, we talk about nitya nitya vastu vivekaha, like that. The first thing you should have is nitya nitya vastu viveka. What is nitya? What is anitya? What is eternal? What is not eternal? What is temporary? What is transient? One has to be very clear. In this, the clarity is there with reference to the Vishaya, Indriya Vishaya, correct? The sense objects, even though I covet sense objects, I go after them. In fact, everybody's life, if you look at the pursuit, it is nothing but pursuit of sense objects, correct? You are all just pursuing different sense objects, different experiences, all these things only, one's pursuit is. And the sense objects are not me, there is no big confusion there, whatever. But another important thing is there is also an I thought. So there the mind objectifies the sense objects, then the sense objects become evident to me, and anything which is objectified by the mind is not me. In that also falls the I thought. Understand that. So that's what Totakaacharya started with, the I thought also as the as not really me, correct? So the analysis is there. In fact, in 21 also he talks, correct? Chiti Shakti Gunaha Kim Ahankaranam Kimu Buddhi Gunaha. So the Ahankara, the I thought, is it something intrinsic to the self, or is it a quality of the self, or it is something of the buddhi, of the mind, correct? This is the analysis we are doing right now. And what is the teaching of the Vedanta? Vedanta is very clear. I thought also comes and goes. It is also transient. It is also a thought, in fact. It is also a quality of the mind only. Therefore, the I thought also belongs to only the mind. I am different from the I thought also. So the I thought is normally called as ego, ahankara, correct? All these words are there. Ahankaraha, Samskrita word is very beautiful, correct? That which is in the form of I. Akara or kara is a form. It's not really I. It's only a form. It's something which appears as I, really. That ahankara also is not really I, because it comes and goes. It takes different forms also. In waking, you identify yourself as a human being. In the dream, you may be identifying as a different human being or not even human being. We don't know. It depends on what kind of dreams you have had. In deep sleep, there is no ahankara at all. But I only slept, correct? I wake up and say, I did not know anything. I slept well, etc. But there was no I thought or a cognition of I thought in deep sleep. So from this only simply you can understand that I thought also comes and goes. So what is the basis for all these things, both the I thought and this thought? That is you, in fact. That's what we are trying to understand. And what is the nature of that? The essential nature of that is Drishi Rupam. In many places, here Totakaacharya also says it is Drishi Rupam. In fact, if you go back here, I think somewhere in the 7th verse or something, he started with that. So, Buddhi Drishaha, Avikritaha also is another word which is used here. Okay. In fact, 6th verse he talked Drishi Rupam, Anantam, Ritam, Vigunam, Hridayastham Avehi. In fact, this is the crux of the teaching. This is what he is trying to drill into your head. This is what he is trying to expand all the time. So I am of the very nature of the seeing. In fact, I am neither seer nor the seen, but I am of the very nature of this seeing. One who knows whether my eyes are seeing or not, that is me. So that is the Drishi Rupam. Also, whether the ears are hearing, whether the tongue can taste or not, whether skin is having any sense of touch or not, who knows that? I am of that nature, of that consciousness alone. I am a conscious being who is whole, in fact, who is partless whole, who doesn't change also, who is the unchanging witness of everything, who is the invariable in each and every cognition. That is me. That invariable is not the I thought also. That's where we are now, correct? And in this, the last verse we saw, Totakaacharya is taking up the views of the Nayayikas. Okay, Kanada. Kanada was a great rishi. And Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas, both of them we have to take. Kanada actually is the Vaisheshika Acharya. Kanabhugyam Achi Klipat Atmagunam Gunapugam Anityam Anatmagunam. So whatever the Kanada sutras say, the Vaisheshikas, they in fact categorize everything. They start, their whole edifice is built upon categorizing things. Dravya, Guna. Now they start from there. They say that this is the reality. In fact, their whole categorization itself has to be questioned, correct? The basis from which they are starting only we have to question. But they start from there. And in this, the interesting thing is Atma also is presented by them as having gunas like Sukha, Dukkha, etc. Now, those are all imagined by Kanada only. There is no basis for this in the Shastra. That's what our Totakaacharya is trying to show here. So this whole group of qualities which are supposed to be qualities of Atma, they have all been only imagined by Kanada. They are all Anitya also. They are all transient. And therefore, a transient attribute cannot be there in a permanent or in an eternal vastu. Okay. Atma is Nitya. So the Nitya cannot have Anitya Guna. This is the logic which here our Totakaacharya is presenting. Nityam Anitya Gunena Gunina. Okay, the Guni which is Nitya cannot have Anitya Guna. This is another logic he is giving, because already we saw the logic of the subject can never be the object, correct? That is the logic which I gave already. Whatever I see is not I. And all gunas are also known to me. I know, if you say I know I am happy, in fact you are not happiness. I know I am sad means you are not sorrow also. Whatever you know is not you. So this you have to take to the extreme level and be established in that. You have to hold on to it. But here he is saying, he is giving another logic. So he is saying whatever is Nitya cannot have Anitya Guna. And according to the Nayayikas themselves, the funny thing is, in fact, they talk about many Nityas. according to the Vedantin, there is only one Nitya, correct? There can be only one Vastu, it is Nitya, because once you say it is Nitya, that Nityatvam is not just only with reference to any one aspect, like time. When we talk about the Ananta, we say Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna, correct? That which is by space wise also limitless, time wise also limitless, by object wise also it is limitless. That is the limitless, and there cannot be more than one like that, correct? By definition, once you say it is limitless, it has to include everything. There cannot be a second. That is the understanding. But Nayayikas talk about many things as Nitya, in fact, in their system. And they also claim that, so we have said that Nitya Vastu cannot have Anitya Guna, correct? That's how the 25th verse we finished. Now the 26th verse, let us see. It's very interesting. Viyatah prabhavam pravadanti yataha shrutayo bahushah kamanityamataha upamanam anitya gunam viyato nahi nityamihasti kanadakrite. So, when we say Nitya Vastu cannot have Anitya Guna, the Kanadas are actually countering us. They are saying, no, I can give you an example. What is the example? They say that Shabda Gunakam Akasham. In fact, Vedantin also accepts that the space has the quality of sound, we say. Okay. We have a 5 elemental model. In this 5 elemental model, correct, we talk about the Panchikarana and all that also. There is the 5 elements we have. We have a simple model of creation. Okay. The 5 elemental model says that the space is there. Then there are, the Vayu is there, correct? Wind is there. Then fire, and then waters or liquids, and then solid earth is there. So these are the Pancha Mahabhutas. And each Mahabhuta is associated with one sense object, because the sensory world is our world really, correct? And the whole world, once you categorize it as 5 elements like this, our sense objects also are associated with each of these 5 Mahabhutas or elements, you can say. What are those? The Akasha is associated with sound or waves. Then the Vayu is associated with touch. Then form comes, sight, correct? Seeing comes with fire onwards, because it has a form, Rupa. Then taste is only if there is water. Rasa is with the Apaha. And then Gandha, smell, fragrance is associated with Prithvi. Gandhavati Prithvi. This is how the Nayayikas define, the Vaisheshikas and Nayayikas, they define the Prithvi as Gandhavati, that which has fragrance. Gandha, the Guna, Gandha is there. That Guni is the Prithvi. Like this, they say that Akasha has Shabda Guna, but Akasha is Nitya, according to them. Okay. In their own system, they say that Akasha is Nitya. In fact, space-time was considered absolute even in Western science, correct, for a long time. 200 years back, the space was considered as absolute, time also was absolute. Then everything else, the classical physics is within this absolute of space-time. But then the Vedantin doesn't accept that. Why? Because for us, Veda is the pramana. Nayayikas go by the observation only. For them, Pratyaksha is primary. And then Pratyaksha based Anumana is primary for them. We go by the Agama, Shruti. That's why this whole text is also called Shruti Saara Samuddharanam. Correct? So what does the Shruti say? You say that a Nitya Vastu like Akasha can have Shabda as a Guna. Therefore, why cannot Atma being Nitya, why cannot it have Gunas like Sukha, Dukkha, etc.? That is their contention. So, what do we say? your contention is wrong. Why? Because Vyataha Prabhavam Pravadanti Yataha Shrutayaha. Because the Shrutis, many Shrutis are there, but the most famous is what? The most famous is Tasmad Ye Tasmad Akasha Atmano. Sorry. Tasmad Ye Tasmad Atmana Akasha Sambhutaha. Tasmad Etasmad Atmanaha Akashas Sambhutaha. This is in Taittiriya Upanishad. The Anandavalli, okay, Brahmavida apnoti param tadesha bhyukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman so oshnute sarvan kamaan saha. Like this it starts, correct? Brahmana vipaschiteti tasmade tasmadatmana akasha sambhutaha akashad vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapaha adbhyah prithvi. Like this, it gives a series. It gives a srishti prakriya where this akasha is sambhutaha, it is created, it comes into being from this atma, the Brahman which was presented is talked about as Atma immediately, and from this Atma only or Paramatma only Akasha was created. So Vyataha Prabhavam Pravadanti Shrutayaha. Many Shrutis are there, but most famous I just quoted Taittiriya Upanishad. So the Shruti is saying Akasha is created. Then who are you to say that it is Nitya then? So Yataha, because the Shrutis say that Bahushaha Kham Anityam. So Kham means Akasha. Anityam it is. Akasha is Anitya because the Shrutis, there are so many Shrutis which say that it is created. Therefore what? The Upamanam you say, correct, the analogy which you are giving, Upamanam, Anitya Gunam Vyataha. So the Vyat also is Akasha. Vyataha Anitya Gunam means what? Akasha is Nitya. So Nityam, the Vyat is Nitya and it has Anitya Guna. That is the Upamana you give, but it is not correct because the Shrutis are saying that Akasha itself is Prabhavam, it got created. And in fact, in that Bhashyakara says not only Akasha, he says time also has to be included. Brahman being the cause of everything, the Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Bhashya is very beautiful. In that, Bhashyakara says space-time is created. Both space and time are created, they are not absolute. So this is our understanding always, which again got reinforced by the science also in the last century. Okay. So this Vyat is created. So your Upamana, it is not there. There is no Upamana for you. You cannot show me any case to validate your imagination that a Nitya Vastu can have Anitya Guna. Therefore what? Nahi Nityam Iha Asti. So there is no Nitya Vastu here for you to show me that Nitya Vastu is having Anitya Gunam. So the Kanada Krite Nityam Iha Na Asti. Whatever the Kanadas are saying, there are many Nitya Vastus and they can have Anitya Guna. That is not true. Okay. So your analogy is not there really because you are claiming Akasha is Nitya. That itself we don't accept. Akasha also is Anitya. It is also part of the created world only. Okay. So the next is main thing which what our Totakaacharya is trying to show you is that there is no connection between whatever is there in the mind and its gunas and the Atma. But even after we say this, the Vaisheshikas, Nayayikas, whom we can call together as Tarkikas, the Tarkikas do not accept. Even then, they say, no, the mind Mind has all these things you say, but the mind is connected to the Atma. At least you have to accept. Okay, let us say that all these Anitya gunas are there and Atma is Nitya, but still there is something, there is a connection is there between the Anitya Prapancha and Nitya Atma. Okay, because there is a Sanyoga and Viyoga are there, association, dissociation and all they are talking about. In fact, they talk about a Samavaya Sambandha, different kinds of Sambandha they talk about. Intrinsic relationship or any other type of relationship. So at least the Atma should have a guna called relationship. Okay. Whatever may be the kind of relationship, but Atma should have a guna of relationship. That's otherwise, how are you going to connect the mind and the Atma? That is their question. Okay. So they still maintain, even if you say that Akasha is created, okay. Let us concede that Shruti, they also accept Shruti as a pramana. Understand that, although they don't give it primacy. But they may accept that, okay, Akasha, the analogy we gave, is not supported by the Shruti. But still, what about the connection between mind and Atma, the relationship between Atma and mind? And if the relationship is there, that relationship itself becomes an attribute or a quality of Atma. Means that also we don't accept. Why? No, that's what he's taking up now, the next verse. Manasa Purushah Purushena Mano Nabhasa Musalam Musalena Nabhaha Nahi Yoga Viyoga Mupaiti Kutaha Avayavitva Nirakaranadamutaha. So, Manasa Purushaha Purushena Manaha. So here Purushaha, the word is used by Totakaacharya in the meaning of Atma only. Okay. So the this relationship between mind and Atma or Atma and mind, Purushena Manaha, is like saying that Musalam means a pestle. Okay, you can take. So there is any other object you can take between an object and space and object. Okay. Now, what is the relationship between space and object and space means? Is there any relationship between any object and space? That can the object do anything to the space? Means even from a physical standpoint, we say that there is nothing, correct? The objects do not divide the space or anything like that. They because within the physical world, the subtlest thing is space. And being so subtle, it is not in any way connected to any other physical object. Okay. Like that, you cannot claim that there is a relationship between the mind and Atma or Atma and mind. So there is no Viyoga and Samyoga or anything like that. There is no association and dissociation between the mind and Atma. Okay. Why? Because Atma, okay, what is the logic for that we are giving? Why are we saying the Atma and mind cannot be connected with each other? For connection, you require Avayava. This is our logic. Understand that. What is the logic Totakaacharya is giving here? Only those which have parts, which are made up of parts, you can connect one part of it with another part of some other object. Avayavitvam is important. Avayavitva nirakaranat. But Atma does not have any avayava. It is niravayava. It is nishkala, nirguna. Correct? Nishkriya. It doesn't have any activity also. So all these things have been negated for Atma. Atma is partless whole. I told you already. It doesn't have any parts. And only those which have parts can be connected with each other. In fact, Akasha is accepted as partless. Even though it is Anitya, we also accept that Akasha is partless whole. There are no parts in Akasha. Therefore, no object is connected to the Akasha in any way, really speaking. Even when we say pollution and all that, it is only air pollution, correct? The space is not polluted. Even though sometimes nowadays we call that space is polluted by all this debris, we say. These all the satellites and things like that. People are sending so many satellites every year. And now they are talking about clearing off all that debris. But even that is not really, we cannot pollute the space in a real sense. So there is no connection between space and any other object, because the reason for that is Akasha is partless. Only things which have parts can be connected to each other, and they can they can be associated and dissociated also. In fact, anything which comes together will fall apart. That is also a law, you can say, correct? That's how it is. The nature is that Viyogantaha Sanyogaha. Any association has to be dissociated finally. In fact, the one definition of yoga Bhagavan gives in the Gita is very interesting. So he says, Tam Vidya Dukkha Sanyoga Viyogam Yoga Samyitam. The definition of yoga he gives. Tam Vidya, by knowing which, he says, Dukkha Samyoga Viyogam. Our connection with Dukkha gets dissociated, by knowing which. That is yoga, he says. Tam Vidya Dukkha Sanyoga Viyogam Yoga Samyitam. Yoga is something by which what happens to you? Your connection with Dukkha is gone. You know yourself as Asanga. You are no more connected with anything, in fact, including Dukkha. Dukkha Sanyoga Viyoga means yoga has to lead you to Ananda. That is the only Purushartha, really, correct? What do we all seek really? We want to be happy. That is the only Purushartha at the end of the day. Everything else is based on that only, really speaking. All other pursuits are based on the assumption that I currently I am not happy in whatever way I look at myself. So I think that by becoming something else, I will be happy. That's what propels everybody into doing something all the time. But then yoga is what? Once you know that you have no connection to any dukkha, you don't have to do anything also, correct? You become krita krityaha. That is another beautiful word, correct? We say. You have accomplished whatever is to be accomplished. There is nothing to be accomplished in fact, because you are not even karta bhukta. You are not a doer or enjoyer to start with. Then what are you going to accomplish? Or why should you accomplish anything? So anyway, here the logic is very simple. Avayavitvam means what? Having parts. But avayavitva nirakaranat, he says, Totakaacharya. So we don't accept any avayava for Atma, like even you don't accept avayava for Akasha. And that which does not have any avayava or parts cannot be connected to anything. Therefore, you cannot say Atma and Manas are connected, and therefore Atma is having a quality called this whatever, this sambandha, some kind of sambandha, samavaya sambandha, etc. You cannot say Atma has as a guna. In fact, he gives an example for that also. Iharajju ghatadihi savayavam samupaiti yujami tarataha iti drishtamato anyadrishtamapi swayamuhyamidam tu aparitya jata. Okay, it's quite a tongue twister. Anyway, so here, Iha Rajju Ghatadi, he Savayavam. So he says Rajju and Ghata, he takes two things. Rajju is rope. In fact, Rajju normally we associate in Vedanta with snake, correct? Rajju Sarpa is what we always talk about. But here it is Rajju and Ghata. Ghata is a part, Rajju is a rope, and both are what? Savayavam, they all have parts. Okay. And samupaiti, yujam, itare itaraha. So yujam means they can be joined, they can be connected. Yuj. In fact, that is the dhatu from which yoga also comes, correct? So you can come, you can join, you can tie the rope around the pot, correct? Or you can put the pot rope in the pot, or you can put the pot on the rope, whatever. Different ways you can relate the rope or connect the rope and the pot, because both are savayavam, samupaiti. Itara means with each other. The pot can be connected to the rope, rope can be connected to the pot. They can have a certain relationship with each other. Why? Because they are savayava. But iti drishtam, that is seen by everybody. In fact, from whatever we see, the understanding which we have is what only that which have parts can be related to each other, can be connected to each other. Drishtam, this is seen by everybody, and instinctively we know that, okay, that whatever has parts only can be connected to each other. Otherwise, therefore, what ataha anyad adrishtamapi swayam ukhyam idam to aparityajata. So for it is the same. Many things we have seen like this, correct? One of the example we have taken is the Rajju and Ghata. But in every other case also, Anyam also, even though you may not have seen, it is safe to conclude that only those which have parts, Savayava, can be having a relationship between them. They can come together, they can be associated, they can be dissociated also. Okay, Sanyoga and Viyoga are only possible with Savayava. And that for that the example, in fact, many examples are there. One example which our Totakaacharya has given is between Rajju and Ghata. And in other cases also where you may not be even seeing them, this can be assumed or this can be taken as it holds true. Okay, it can be taken as it holds true in all other cases also. Okay, therefore what? So Savayava only can have this relationship, that we all have to accept. Even Nayayika has to accept that. Having established this principle, he now continues. He says, Nahi Savayavam, Nahi Savayavam Vigatavayavaihi, Vigatavayavam Nacha Savayavaihi, Upayati Yujam iti Drishtamidam, Yata eva Matasthitim Uktamadaha. So now, having established that only Savaya Vastu can have a relationship with another Savaya Vastu, now what he says, Nahi Savayavam Vigata Avayavaihi. Vigata Avayavaihi means what? That which does not have any Avayava or parts. Vigata means without. That which is without parts cannot have any connection with that which has parts. Savayavam na. Okay. Vigata Avayavaihi Savayavam na means here, na yujam, you have to connect here. The yujam is there here. It cannot be joined or connected, or it cannot have any relationship. Okay. Similarly, what? Vigata avayavam na savayavaihi. That which has parts also cannot be connected with that which does not have any parts, without parts. Therefore, this is not possible. This is known also. This is seen. That's why we say space is not really, it cannot be touched by anything. Okay. So that is seen by everybody. Drishtam idam yataha. Therefore what? Evam ataha. Because it is like this, therefore in this manner what? Stitam uktam adaha. Now whatever we have said, correct? Whatever this about this Atma which we have said, it is stitam means what? It is established. Whatever we have said about the Atma, that Atma cannot be connected to anything, it cannot have any guna, that is established, because that which does not have any parts, that which is without parts cannot be in any way connected to that which has parts. That is the logic. And this logic has to be accepted by the Nayayika also, and he cannot hold on to this idea that relationship at least one has to accept. Then, then what is the finally? Then how do we then account for manas and all the prapancha being there? Means the only way we can account for it. In fact, Bhashyakara says this even in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya. Beautifully, he brings this out. The only way you can account for it is adhyasika sambandha. It's all adhyasa. It is only superimposition. Because if you say, you have seen snake on the rope. Now you keep on asking me, what is the connection between snake and rope? Means, hey, at one level I'll say, okay, it is superimposed. It is only something which is appearing. It is all appearance. At the end of the day, I have to say, where is the snake, man? There is no snake. Why are you even talking about any connection, any relationship? So we can shift the standpoint to Paramarthika. If you shift it from a Paramarthika standpoint, there is no world. Understand that. So you cannot even talk about any connection and all that. We only say Adhyasika Sambandha and all that is only by conceding to you that the world appearance, since it appears, we have to give some reality to it, correct? By conceding some reality to the world, we say, no, it is still superimposition only. It is only an appearance on Atma. Therefore, we can say that it is the superimposition itself is the connection, correct? The connection is Adhyasika, superposed connection. So that much we can say. So that's what now finally our Totakaacharya is arriving at. And the implication of saying Adhyasika Sambandha is what? That is the beauty. The Mahavakya will come now. We'll see that. So, nahi kalpita bhaga samagamanam vigatavayavasya ghate kutaha vitathattvamati sudridhatu yataha parikalpita vastushu ityamutaha. So, nahi kalpita bhaga samagamanam vigata avayavasya ghateta kutaha. So, vigata avayavasya, same thing he is summarizing now, we can say. So, that which does not have any avayava, vigata avayavasya, okay. Again, kalpita bhaga samagamanam kutaha ghateta he asks. Okay. Means it is not possible, nahi, it is not there. See, the kalpita, in fact, all the gunas, everything, the entire divisions, correct, bhaga, in the world, it's all kalpita. It is all only an appearance. And whatever appears between that and whatever is the vastu, which is the reality, okay, there is some samagamanam means what? I mean, how are they connected? They are in some relationship means. They have come together. How and all, if you ask, you cannot. Kutaha, how can you talk about anything, any relationship between them? In fact, from this, the only thing we can understand is what? Vitatatvam. Vitatatvam is another word for mithyatvam. Vaitathya prakaranam, like this. Mandukya Upanishads also in the Gaudapada Karika, one chapter is called Vaitathya Prakaranam. Vaitatyam means same thing. Mithyatvam, the falsity. So Vaitatva matihi sudridatu yataha. So if you have this Vitatatva mati, means what? Everything other than Atma, which is Nitya, all the Anitya Vastu, they are all only false. They are not of the same order of reality. Understand that. The snake and the rope are not of the same order of reality. So one cannot touch the other in any manner. It's impossible. There is nothing which can touch. Therefore, what? One has to take the other as of a different order of reality. And that has to be firm. One has to be firm in that understanding the mithyatvam of the world. In fact, many modern scientists are very clear about that. They all understand the mithyatvam of the world, because science also is, in one way, it is reductionist, correct? Because we try to reduce everything to some fundamental particles and try to understand it in that manner. So they say only some three quarks are the fundamental building blocks of everything. Everything else can be explained from there. But if you can say reduce everything to some three or few fundamental particles, then what about all the variegated world which we see then? And in fact, another thing is, really speaking, only very, very small portion of the space is occupied by the nucleus. Because once we go at the atomic level, the electron cloud and nucleus are supposed to be the matter, and in between it's all space only. And finally, what the scientists are saying is 99% is all space. Even though we have Vyavahara that this is solid, this is liquid, this is gas and all that, at the atomic level, the nucleus and the electron cloud are not even occupying 1% of the space. If all of them is space, in fact, there is even one quotation, I think, I don't know who it is now, I forgot. One scientist is supposed to have said that, I feel like the entire thing is sinking into space or something like that. Because that's the reality, correct? That this mithyatvam, the macro world is only an appearance. If you take the quantum world as the reality, the macro world is just an appearance only, and it is in fact a probabilistic appearance according to them. So the mithyatvam can be understood, in fact, but it is very difficult to internalize and get it established, because that takes, again, you have to overcome your conditioning, prior conditioning. That's why he says sudrudha tu yataha. So when this mithyatva of the world is firm in your understanding, then what happens? Parikalpita vastushu iti amutaha. So what he says is, from this only, that because there cannot be any connection between the savayava and niravayava, all the savayava vastus are all also anitya, and therefore they are all vitatha, they are all mithya, and they are all only parikalpita vastushu, again he says, correct? They are all only appearances, and this you have to be firm. So once you are firm in this understanding, then what is the conclusion finally? Means Atma alone is there, and in fact this Atma now becomes the basis for both the subject-object division, because the entire universe is nothing but subject and object. The subject also is transient. In fact, the status of being a subject is dependent on whether the object is there or not. Therefore, this whole subject-object division itself is parikalpita. The subject is the I thought, objects are all whatever object thoughts are there. Both are parikalpita, they are all only an appearance. They are not related to the Atma in any manner. They cannot be related because they are of a different order of reality. They are vitatha. If that is the case, then Atma, there is no Atma, Jivatma, Paramatma and all that, correct? There is only one Atma. Space-time itself is an appearance in that, and that Atma is you. Don't think that Atma means some third thing or something else, correct? It is I. I am the basis for the entire space-time. There is nothing other than that. Therefore, I am the Paramatma. And that is what the Shruti also is teaching you, really. So what Totakaacharya has done here is, he has started with Atma, Anatma, Viveka. So first he showed that anything you know, all the sense objects, etc., are all Anatma only. then even the body mind sense complex is anatma. I thought also is anatma. And once they all become anatma and anitya, they are all again, they are nowhere, they are not related to the atma in any way, because atma is partless, whole, and because they are not related in any way, they are all only appearances in atma. They are all adhyasika. Once they become appearance, they all become false. They are all not of the same order of reality. Therefore, Atma alone is there, Ekameva Advitiyam, and therefore it is Ananta also. Understand that it is limitless. And this limitless Atma is really Paramatma. There is no real individual Atma or anything. In fact, the individual Atma is really the I thought. Once the I thought is seen as I thought, I becomes independent of the individuality also. The individuality also comes and goes. Okay. And therefore, you have to see the transient nature of your own individuality. In fact, that is the most difficult thing to see finally. Like I said, seeing all other objects as not me is very simple, but your own individuality is also not you. It is also not I. It comes and goes. It changes in different states. It's not intrinsic to you. The individuality also you give up. Once you give up the individuality, all that is there is this Paramatma only. In fact, you are the Paramatma is implied then. By implication, you cannot be anything other than that. And therefore, you arrive at the Mahavakya. That is the teaching. And even you can arrive at like that. Shruti also is teaching the same thing. Shruti Pramana also is reinforcing the same thing. Therefore, that is the only truth. There cannot be anything else. Whatever Kanada may say, Gautama may say, Buddha may say, so many people are saying different things. Modern scientists also can say so many things, but they are all limited in their perspective. Their paradigms are also limited. They are viewing certain things from some standpoint, you can say, but we have to transcend all the standpoints and just be established in the point. Okay, yes, which is yourself, in fact. So that is the teaching here. So we'll continue this next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.